Good morning, everyone. I'm Jessica Alstrom, and welcome to our live channeling of Second Sunday right here in our Quantum Revolution group. I just wanted to wish you all a beautiful morning or a beautiful evening, depending on where you are on the planet, and welcome you all here to the community. For some of you, you're seeing me for the first time, and if you don't know who I am a humble servant who is here to bring the messages and the codes and the downloads for our awakening, our shifts, our changes, our growth, and our empowerment. We are in 2019, and we are in April. And as most of you guys know, March felt like, almost like the new year, for at least us starseeds and for us messengers. And the reason why is because every year we go through these intense shifts and changes that are accelerated expansion and accelerated evolution, especially since the 2012 marker hit. That's when people started to really pay attention to what was happening on this planet, and they began to awaken. And we will go through seven cycles with 12 different awakenings. And 12 different awakenings will bring us back into that full knowledge of who we truly are in this universe. It will connect all of the dots for us, and we will both be in mind, body, soul, the total transformation and the total transcendence of who we always knew and felt we were. So we're already underway. We are in April. For a lot of you guys who were able to join me in the Quantum Revolution Tour, it was an intense process of stepping into the power of the I am. And the I am is the frequency of intention itself. And the intention to be the higher self embodied. It is about bringing that higher knowing of who you truly are, the aspects of the God spark, the universe itself, into the physical body and integrating into that physical body so that we can become, in our physical forms, all the things we feel in our hearts. For years and years, probably since we've all been very small children, we've all wanted to explore and feel and create and be love. And in return, we've only wanted the same. And it is finally this opportunity. We're at this stage of the ascension right now where we are asked to take action and to step into that embodiment. I'm watching light workers get strong all over the planet. And I don't mean emotionally strong. I mean physically strong and emotionally strong. Because a lot of you guys have probably seen very awakened spiritual people. But you'll notice that they still harbor many, many fears about the world. They harbor they worry, they stress. And what you're witnessing is their emotional awakening is underway. Because they have to process that emotion of fear and step into that pattern for them to really, really understand what it is that we're doing here. Because you're going to go through 3 major awakenings before the heart activation, before that diamond heart chakra really expands and the unity project that is well underway begins to formalize. And those 3 awakenings are the emotional awakening, the physical awakening, and the spiritual awakening. And now most of you had your spiritual awakening. You had the aha moments. You followed the breadcrumbs. You were starving for knowledge. You fell into the right teachers. You fell into the right books. Everything started to click. And yet you didn't understand why you still felt fear. You didn't understand why you still couldn't do the things that you could feel inside of you. You couldn't understand why you couldn't produce the manifestations, the fruits of the seeds that you've been planting with the universe since you were a little child. You didn't understand why you would go high and low in the same day, in the same hour, in the same 5 minutes. And why you didn't understand that is because as the spiritual awakening uproots you, it is then asking you to purify and awaken the emotional plane, the emotional body. And through the emotions, we're going to begin to speak to the physical body because we're dealing with light down to density. We're moving all the way from light into density, and the physical body is the representation of both heaven and earth. It is the representation of the non-physical reality and the physical reality that make up you, and it is the densest part of what can be hidden within you. this consciousness that can be hidden within you. We call it the ego identity. It is the immortal version of you that hasn't realized that it can grow, that it can heal, that it can awaken, that it can learn, that it can remember. And as you become more aware, the you-ness that is the universe within you, you begin to teach this human part of yourself. That's what you've been doing on this journey, is you have been teaching yourself how to awaken. That's why in one moment you can be in light and love, and the next moment you find yourself in judgment. It is because there's parts inside of you that still slumber, and it is our job to redirect and look at fear as nothing more than an emotion. Energy in motion. It is not a signpost. Fear is not a sign from the universe to slow down. Fear is not a sign from your spirit guides to tell you do not enter. Fear is an emotion that you learned from other people who were afraid, from other things that held the vibration of fear. It is something you picked up, and it is something that you have downloaded into your collective frequencies, your energy field, your quantum possibilities, and you have decided that fear means something. And the reason why I'm bringing up fear is because as we are asked to end spring training, that's what January, February, and March was. That's why we had the Quantum Revolution Tour in March, because it was finishing your spring training. Now it is time to enter the field of possibilities. April is nothing but possibilities. It is about things blooming. It is things percolating. It is babies being born. It is all of the essence of creation showing and shining itself to you right now. And as the micro of the macro, it is your job to now step and shine. It is step and take action. It is step and help others remember through your example, not your words, but through your physical example of your whole entire being, for you to step up and demonstrate what a loving, kind, healed person looks like, even if you're still healing. Because April is going to be an interesting month for all of us, and here's why. Is as you step into the future, because the future is now, and that is the whole concept of today's Second Sunday, is to really understand that the future is in the moment. It is not something that you plan for, that you look forward to. We are not in 3D anymore. We are in the fifth dimension, which means every moment is an intention. Every thought is an intention. Every feeling is an intention. Every word that comes out of your mouth is an intention. And it is taken a lot more seriously in 5D because time is not a buffer. It is not an agent. It is not a marker anymore. Time is irrelevant. So what happens is when you show up in the moment, you are either a byproduct of your past, or you are commanding the universe through the void, through the black hole of creation itself, to command the reality of your choice. Now you have a choice, but as you move forward in forward motion, as you move towards the future in the present moment, you will find your past in certain curves and certain pivots. And here's why. You're going to reconcile certain points of your reality through your karmic balancing act. And we like to call it cause and effect so much more than we like to call it karma, because it isn't something that is happening to you because you're bad or good. It is something that you're faced because it was hidden, it was avoided, it was disassociated, or it was unclaimed by you, and it was stuffed in the corners of your consciousness that you have been in resistance of, or in suppression of, or in contraction of, or in hiding of. And you must rendezvous with these certain points as you move into your future purposes. And as you move to your future, you will find your past. If you notice, when I was teaching the warrior training back to get you guys ready for the Quantum Revolution Tour, I was asking you to intentionally go into trauma. I was asking you to search out and find the inner narcissist and the inner wounded empath within. I was asking you to go and look into your dark corners. But I'm not asking you to do that anymore. We have been there and we have done that. And you all have succeeded in that. You all have done 10% of that work. that needed to get you to this moment. So whether or not you've been spending your time practicing at night or practicing in the shower or practicing in your physical reality, it's game day. April is game day. It is game month. It is game on. It is about showing up in taking action and taking the action that every step you take in the now moment is building future realities that is going to take you where you want to go, no matter how it looks. This is why I brought up fear. Because as soon as you start to move into the future present moment, right, which is now, then you're going to be haunted a bit by your past. Because as you begin to pull energy, you begin to pull on certain timelines that are going to feel like a tug. And the reason why they're going to feel like a tug is because they are not oscillating and moving in coherence with you. They are not a vibrational match to where you're going. They are still residing in density. And density is solid. It is not moving. It is holding on. And usually it is through all lower frequencies, those versions of you that are still stuck playing that argument over and over again, going over your last failure in your mind, waking up in the middle of the night, replaying certain scenarios, not putting yourself out there because of what could happen to you, staying in trapped toxic relations through obligation and third dimensional commitments, not investing in yourselves because you still don't believe you deserve it or that you're going to fail. These are the types of hauntings that I'm talking about that everybody is going to be either faced in their dream state or right in the mirror or right across the dinner table. It's going to show up a lot in physical family this month. Physical family is going to be kind of that eye-opening intimacy factor of where and how you are vibrating. And why the family is going to be playing out so big right in this month is because family, intimacy I see, into me I see, is going to be your greatest triggers. So you're going to be able to find your fears, your old suppressed angers, your old suppressed stories right in your loving family. And now family could mean home, it could be job, depending on what your family looks like. And if you don't have a physical family, you probably have a collective family, you probably have built a star family, you probably built a tribe. Even if it's just through social media, you have built these things now. So you'll find these echo effects, you'll find the frequencies of the past meeting you as you move to the future. So you don't have to wait. Matter of fact, waiting is a lower frequency that will hold you in the vibration of waiting. And in the fifth dimension, when you wait on multiple planes and multiple levels. And when you are waiting in multiple levels and multiple planes, it's almost like you need this to trigger this, to trigger this, to trigger this, to trigger this, and you find yourself waiting for all of the domino effect, and it really drops you down into frequency because you're finding that you can't get anywhere. So your job is to drop into the I am, find the intention of what can I do in this moment? What can I feel in this moment? What can I visualize in this moment, imagine in this moment? That has nothing to do with my circumstances. That has nothing to do with who I was 5 minutes ago. And decide and choose in this now moment that this now moment is creating my future. This moment is creating my future. The past no longer creates your future unless you say it does. We are no longer being held captive by the memories of the body. That is why I've been having you guys do so much body work, so much strength training, so much cleansing, so much purging over the last 2 years in TICA, which is our Transcendence International Consciousness Academy. And we have been preparing for these moments. You will not know you're ready until you're thrown in. And if you're working with me, I'm always throwing you in. I'm always kicking you out of the nest. I'm always pushing you to your limits because I am seeing your future presence. I am seeing the you that has already actualized all of your hopes and dreams. And there's no one that can believe in you more than someone who's already seen you do it. And I have witnessed it through the timeline sequences of who and what you could choose at any given moment. As April is nothing but possibilities. It is nothing but collaborative expressions with other people and places. You're starting to learn to work with each other. You're starting to build visions and ideas. You're starting to use your telepathic nature. You're starting to feel your psychic energy in your physical body. You're starting to move out of your mind and into your heart. You're starting to think less and feel more. You're starting to see through the third eye versus your human eyes. And you're starting to notice that the game has changed. And the game has changed, especially for us, the ones who have suffered enough, decided to awaken, wake up, and take action. As a third phase of awakening will begin to end at the end of 2019, which means 2020 is the year of the Diamond Heart Chakra activation point and integration of unity on this planet. You feel that? So what that means is that you have the rest of this year to follow your hopes and dreams. And if it takes you into the haunting of the past, I want you to remember that fear is nothing more than a feeling. It is an emotion. It is not a guidepost. It is not a sign. It is not something that is coming from the heavens telling you to stop. It is actually challenging the I am within you to see if you are really ready to be a player of this game. Are you really ready to support your fellow lightworkers? Are you really ready to demonstrate the uniqueness of your soul song? Are you ready to begin speaking your light language? Are you ready to begin to share your example with the world? And notice how I didn't say rescue anyone, fix anyone. It is all about the work that you're going to be doing and facing in the mirror this month. And you're going to be seeing inside that mirror the faces of your family, of your past, of your potential future. And your job is to decide how the story ends. As I begin to download my new workshop called the I Am, I always take the opportunity when I'm developing a workshop to actually do the workshop before I teach it. And that way, I build my metaphors, I build my scenarios, I build all of the cause and effects around what the workshop is going to look like. And the workshop that I'm creating right now for my community is the I Am workshop. And it is all about learning how to set intentions and become intentions, no matter what happens. Because you'll always be tested. You'll always be given practice to practice the I Am, testing the I Am, to see how stable, how solid, how confident, and how well you maneuver in who you say you are. So you're going to get lots of practice. And practice may mean balls getting thrown at your head. It may mean getting knocked out. It may be falling down. But the idea of it, and you've probably noticed this by now, is that you guys are getting up way quicker. You're getting up fast now. You fall down, it's instead of a dark night, right? It's a dark hour. Instead of a dark week, it's a dark day. You're noticing that your I Am presence is in your biggest conflicts. And the I Am presence is the higher self. And the higher self is now becoming a part of this physical body. And as it becomes part of the physical body, it begins to talk to the DNA in this body, and it begins to awaken, and it begins to move from carbon to crystal. And crystal is a communication. It is a photonic energy. It is both physical and non-physical in its formulation. And through that, the I Am begins to speak to worlds through the physical body, and the body becomes telepathic, and the body opens up all of its grids, and the body opens up all of the activations, and it becomes what you've always felt like who you were inside. But it is about merging the higher self into the body, which means this relationship has to be on point. This relationship has to be the most important relationship in your universe. And when you don't pay attention to your body, it will project into your family. When you don't when you don't pay attention to your emotions, it will project into your home and your surroundings. When you don't pay attention to your needs and your abundance and your freedom calls, it will be affected in your freedom and abundance and calls outside of you. So everything that you've planted yourself inside of, it's all about just going back into that and finding those pieces of yourself through future motion. We're not playing hide and seek in the past. If the past needs to be healed, it will show up in your future now. You no longer have to go and search for your past. You just have to create this forward motion. And this forward motion, as these waves of these ascension waves are hitting us week after week after day, it is just saying it's safe for you to go. It is safe for you to move. It is safe for you to live. It is safe for you to open your wings, but you will not fly until you get pushed out of the nest, because you won't remember how to do that until that little coordinate kicks in. You won't remember who you are until you start acting out your possibility sequences, which means this is what I prefer, this is what I desire, this is what I visualize, this is what I intend, this is what I imagine, and then the inspired action shows up. And inspired action is action that is coming through your higher self. It is really exciting action that you are desiring to take. It is not survival-based action. It is not desperate actions. It is not lower frequency action. It is high vibrational action. And that could be, I need a nap today. I need to not be there for someone. I need to write that song. I need to open up. I need to do that workshop. I need to create that workshop. It doesn't matter, but you'll know because it feels new, but it feels old, if that makes sense. Which means when you step into doing new things that you may have never done in your physical reality yet, as soon as you start doing it, it's almost like you've done it a million times. And so that's how you begin to remember to use your Akashic records, in formulating your new divine purpose that you're going to be sitting in and living in and driving in and creating in. And through getting this physical body in shape, and I don't mean for physical reasons or vanity reasons, I mean reconnecting the root chakra, the information of the root chakra to the crown chakra through the sacral, solar plexus, and heart frequencies is the only way to get the message all the way down to the densest parts of you. And through that, practice, 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 you will feel the contractions, you will feel the resistance, and through the resistance, you will build the relationship with yourself, just like muscle does. And as you build this relationship with yourself, you will trust yourself more. You will see yourself more. The confidence in you to be a light worker will resurrect. There's a lot of that energy moving through us. The Christed consciousness that you hear about is all about moving from spring training onto the field, and that's what April is. It's the idea of Easter. It is the idea of play. It is the idea of surrender. It is the idea of celebration. This is not a month to go into heavy processing. If the processing needs to happen, it will find you. If the dark night needs to manifest in order to build a backbone or build strength or build self-love, it will manifest. But it will manifest on your road through your future moments, which means that it is time for you guys to make solid choices about who you want to be for the next 5 minutes and practice it, because you also need to give your space to change your mind, to change your heart, to change your space, to change your job, to change everything around you, and continue to change as you change. I think some of you think that you're going to have this awakening and you're going to meet all of these spiritual people, and then you're going to have this spiritual life. But because the body is going to go through an awakening, the emotional body is going to go through awakening, you're going to experience different desires within you. You're going to experience phases where you're really going to need to dive down deep into your sexuality. You're going to go through phases where you need to really dive down deep into your physical abilities, which means you're going to see what your body's made of. There's going to be times or months or years, maybe even, where you need to really spend reconditioning this idea of who you are emotionally and what emotions have meant to you and how they've driven you and how they've controlled you. And then learning how to use your emotional body to basically generate energy through hormonal frequencies and through sound waves to be able to bring the I am to life. Because that's what 2019 is, the resurrection of the I am. I don't know why I'm emotional, but it is the resurrection of the I am. It is higher self taking ownership of the physical body, which means that what you're going to see moving forward are the people who are saying yes to this, the people who are stepping in, to the vehicle, you're going to see huge shifts and changes happen on this planet through physical action, through things you can see, not just things you can feel anymore. See, we've had to trust for the last few years that these things were happening through feeling, which what you're going to notice is that you're going to start to see these changes. You're going to start to be able to live in these changes, grasp these changes, use these changes, because the physical representation of manifested energy into form must be what makes the changes. See, the spirit world can't come in and clean up all of our issues. It can't come in and change the food and change our minds and change our hate and change all of these things. It has to be when someone says, I love you enough to themselves, and they clean out the baggage of the past and they make room for the light body, they make room for higher self to be present in the physical body, then the I am takes ownership of the physical body, begins to reroute all of those nerves and those cells and those muscles and those ideas. And from a subatomic level, everything in the physical experience begins to change. And if my physical experience can change, my example can change. And what I can do in a 24-hour hour in a day, and what I can create, and what I can speak, and what I can say, and who I can be. Because my beingness, my state of being, is going to be my greatest form of service on this planet. It is not anything that you necessarily are going to leave behind, but your state of being, your impact of higher self being in the body. Because basically what the planet is conditioned with is ego in the body. Ego in the body, which means the pain body, controls the TV and the media and the fear and the food and the ideas of what's possible. And as long as the pain body or the ego in the body is able to speak and talk and judge and hide and quiver, we are going to need examples who are willing to do the opposite of that. It's not an easy job. We all know that. None of us are here going, yeah, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. Integrating the higher self into the physical body to step into the I am power, where the root knows who you are, the sacral knows who you are, your solar plexus knows who you are. Your heart says, now I trust you. And when your heart says, I trust you, and you hear those words, then you're able to use all of those physical gifts, those non-physical gifts, through your fingerprints, through your fingertips, through your eyes, through your vocal cords, through your energy field. And you're there going to be able to create the biggest change. Because this quantum revolution tour that we're going to be doing in September it's going to be insane. My guidance is telling me it's called the Alchemy Initiation. And what we're going to be doing on the tour is, as you guys noticed if you were there with me in Vegas, is we did a bunch of biohacking. We did a bunch of clearing out the body to make room for the physical higher self to integrate. And when the I am was present, you all felt the power in your bodies. You all felt the peace and the calm state of your emotional body. You felt strength in your core, and you had an undying knowing in your spirit of who you were. That's what the I am feels like. So imagine living as if that every day. So as we get ready for September, I'm going to be giving you guys this workshop called the I am, so that you can completely embody the I am before September, because September is going to be the initiation. And the initiation is we're going to be activating your individual light languages. You're going to be moving energy with your mind and your feels. You're all going to do it in the room in Vegas, one of the dirtiest energy spaces in the United States. And you're all going to be able to move energy, channel energy, and resurrect within that diamond heart chakra all of those very important gifts that will make huge impact on the planet for the moving coming year. Because 2020 is the year where the game not only changes, it becomes the new world that we've all been preparing for. We've all been preparing for this 5D frequency, but I don't know if a lot of you understand just how much in 5D you actually are. So if you can't really fathom it yet, look at how you're viewing time right now. Look at how you're viewing your physical surroundings. You might even be confused that you're in the wrong story right now. You might be confused with time right now. You might be confused with the relationships that you're in because you no longer resonate with certain aspects of it unless you drop back into your ego identity, and then you recognize that relationship component within you because you're like, oh, I see, I chose that. But from my I am, I didn't choose any of these things. And now you're having to make choices, and you're having to look at your lower frequencies as far as your obligations, your commitments, your own judgments, and your fear factor. Looking at the biggest risk that you could take. That would be what I would recommend, is what is the biggest risk that you could take in April that most clearly defines your I am? What is that? Which means if I was going to ask you, who are you? And you were going to tell me who your I am was, I am free, I am abundance, I am grace, I am love, I am unity, I am God, whatever, I would say, what is the biggest risk that you could demonstrate for me right now to show me that you are the I am? That would be what I would recommend that your April look like. Take the risk. Dive off the cliff, because it is there that you will soar like the eagle that you are. The wings will sprout. This is not bad advice if you're hearing me right now. If you're not hearing me right now, I probably sound like a lunatic. And that's okay too, because the seeds are always being planted for those who are going to be awakening later. And the other thing that I want to share with you guys, because I know that you're witnessing a lot of people around you deciding not to take the risk with you, to not awaken into their magic, to not fulfill their potential. And as the ascension process happens, I don't know if you guys are all aware of this, but as the ascension process moves forward, there's also a descension in motion. There is a de-ascension in motion, which means that because we have free will and because we live a life of choice, there is, just as quickly as the planet is ascending, there are thousands and millions of people choosing to de-ascend. Now, what de-ascend means, it means to move back into density, to move back into suffering, to move back into training, going back to sleep. And that may trigger you to witness that. You may see people leaving you right now through the death experience. You may see people just leaving in general. You may be the one leaving. That is something that I probably say every month in Second Sunday, because it is a chronic manifestation of our awakening and our ascension process. That this de-ascension process is going to happen just as strongly as the ascension process, which means as the light grows on this planet, so does the dark, which means that we are just able to shine brighter because there's more contrast. But looking at fear as nothing but a challenge, it's no longer a marker, it is no longer a signpost, it is no longer evidence that you're out of alignment. It is merely just a challenge. You know, anything you do for the first time is always going to feel scary. It's always going to feel new. It's always, you may have some anxiety attached to it. One of the things that I teach my students constantly is feel the fear and do it anyways, especially if the idea of it makes you feel expansive. Now, if it makes you feel contracting, it probably won't really feel like fear. It'll feel like logic. See, logic is what you've always done. Fear is the unknown. Now, the unknown could be from your past thinking, a place where things haven't gone so well for you. But you are shifting into the I am. You are becoming your higher self in human form. You are opening up those vortexes within you that don't just speak to the universe, but every other heart on the planet. And if you don't start walking into the void, which looks like a void, but actually all it is an unwritten story that the universe is saying, each footstep, each word that comes out of your mouth, each thought you think, each vision you create, each idea that blooms, this is how you're writing your new book. Do not take ideas from your past unless they feel expansive, they feel inspiring, they feel like greatness, because, you know, we've had great moments in our suffering. We've built our entire I am desire from our suffering. We needed the suffering to wake us up. And that is something you have to remember, is that the others who are choosing to descend, that they also need the suffering to awaken. They need their pain to awaken. They need their responsibility in their cause and effect and clean up their karmic energy. And the only real true help that you can give them as a light worker, as a messenger, as a healer, as an empath, as an artist, is to shine your example. And if they say yes, and they are in the frequency of gratitude and appreciation for you, then you will feel inspired, there's that word again, inspired to be of service. And that will be a beautiful exchange of energy that results in further awakening of that person. If that person is in need of you, because you're a light worker, because you feel like heaven, because you feel like they can be themselves around you, but they have no real desire to change, that will suck you back into density with them. It's like a vacuum. It is literally like a black hole will suck you in. And if there's no light coming from that person or that place or that thing, no amount of your light can outshine a black hole if all it's doing is creating a vacuum effect, because you will get sucked in and you will get lost. Some of you guys are recognizing this in your friendships. Some of you are recognizing this in having to deal with those narcissist relationships. I did 3 classes last week in my Tika classrooms about how to deal with hate and narcissism and racism as an empath, because we have called ourselves sensitives for a really long time. But if we continue to call ourselves sensitives with a victim vibration attached to that, we continue to suffer for our own empathy. I truly believe that it's time for us to change our language as far as calling ourselves sensitives and calling ourselves the ones who know. We are the ones who feel. We are the ones who know you. We are the ones who see you. We are the ones who see the future. We are the ones who know the future. And that's why our empathy is so triggered when we're around resistance. But resistance will be there. Your job is to get stronger in the resistance and let go of the idea of resistance and look at everything as a challenge and everything as a game and everything as an opportunity for infinite potential, infinite possibilities, and to walk in the action of this month. This month is not about dwelling on the new moon energy and the full moon energy. It is about using each moment as an opportunity, as a celebration, as a command, as an intention, as a reference point. So every word out of your mouth, if it's not in alignment with the I am, you're going to get triggered by it, because we're in 5D now. So if you're out of alignment with you, you're going to attract something very quickly that's out of alignment. And it's letting you know, look, you said you're the I am, you said you're free, and then you got a nasty phone call and now you don't feel free. What are you going to do with that practice opportunity? What are you going to do? You're on the field. The players are all set. It's game time. It's time for you to participate in your own manifestations of law of reflection. Every version around you, whether they trigger you or inspire you, is a reflection of you. And you're there to use it as a guidepost to understand yourself more, heal yourself if you're triggered, because all triggers are is reopening a wound. You actually do not feel bad ever in a neutral present moment. You only feel bad if the present moment activates the past. Fear is always a memory of the past. There is no fear in a neutral present future moment unless you assign that. As creator, as the creator that you are creating each moment of your reality, and each moment is building a story. So imagine that if your book is completely clean slate, and every word that goes into this book is your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Would you choose more wisely? Would you bite your tongue if you had something negative to say? Would you find grace in anger? Would you find compassion in resentment? Would you be different if you know that you are physically writing your new book, your 2020 book? What would you be putting in that book? Well, what you're putting in that book is your energy signature, and your energy signature comes from your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. Your thoughts, your words, and your deeds, the me, myself, and I, create your future realities. They create your now moment realities. And you are the chooser of the pen, the paper, the font, the author. You're the director, you're the editor, you're the cast, you're the characters. It is completely unwritten. And if you take cues from your past book, your past will be in your future. Now, if there is something that you're in resistance of, you'll feel it. In this I am workshop that I'm doing right now, I'm testing all of the shadow aspects of the I am in formulas. And I'm triggering myself to see what collective triggers reside in the I am. And it's interesting because I found 2 of them yesterday. You know, it's amazing to have some loud, powerful music on and get the inertia wave out, or, you know, start running really fast and I am free and I am abundant and I am these things. And it's really interesting because you immediately resonate with the truth of that, especially if you're using sound frequency to find the frequency of the I am. You're like out of control, powerful. But what I tried yesterday, because I'm really trying to find the shadow side of the I am to clear the charges, is I used phrases like I am responsible, I am dependable. And it was interesting because when I felt those things, I immediately saw in my mind's eye, you know, family members who didn't believe that about me, found people that you know, would say the opposite about me. And it was interesting because I could find my reflection through someone else's judgment as I said the I am formulas. And as I said these I am formulas, I was like, ooh, this is a good trigger point. These are good trigger points because it's really safe for us to be in the I am free and I am abundance and I am love. But what about I am responsible? What about I am dependable? What does that actually mean? What do those words mean? And what do they feel like in my body? And where do they trigger emotions in my chakras? Where do they trigger in my stomach, in my gut, in my throat, in my head, in my shoulders, in my back? So using kinesiology, I'm formulating this new I am workshop, and I'm finding my own literally shadow aspect triggers, but I'm processing them in the now moment because the future is now. So I'm super excited to roll this out. I will not open it for anyone until it's complete. I'm just very much a scientist when it comes to those things, and I want to make sure that I have gone through every avenue of what you guys could possibly go through before I take you down this amazing rabbit hole into your ultimate potential. And it really is designed to get you ready for the quantum initiation, for the alchemy process of the next Quantum Revolution tour. And that's really all I have for April. It is really just about action, and it is about looking at fear differently. It is about looking at the triggers within the family to find some deep avoidances within yourself. It is about being proud of yourself every single day, and if you're not, change your actions. It is about getting the sequence of mind and thought and words and deeds in alignment. It is about finding that discipline within you, which is just the disciple within you, the student within you that needs to learn how to create freedom through its daily routine. It needs to learn how to breathe into its own intentions. It needs to learn all these things, and you are both, you know, the teacher and the student within. And as you're learning, you're also teaching, and that is the best way for you all to learn, is through teaching. All right. So probably nothing that you didn't know already. Hopefully there was just a couple of moments of confirmation here and there for you. And if you're still battling with the dark nights of the soul, that is something that I would recommend as a sailor and a professional player and the light worker that you are, is you guys are comfortable in the dark. You know, we all are. We wouldn't be doing this work if we didn't know suffering. So what if we looked at the dark night as the catalyst point? It is where the I am is made. The I am is practiced in the affirmations. The I am is intended in the breath. The I am is created in the imagination. But it comes to life in the dark nights. It comes to life in the challenges. It comes to life in the void, because that's when you shine the brightest. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this second Sunday. As always, I appreciate you being here. If you're hearing me for the first time and you resonate with any craziness that I just spoke, you can find us here in Quantum Revolution Community. If you're willing to go a little bit deeper, there's always private classes that I offer in several different locations. I have a big one-year university, and I'm also opening myself up to creating some really powerful ascended master teachers in the future. So if any of that resonates, reach out to us. We'll find the right place for you in your level of, as far as you're ready to go, we'll find a good place for you, find a good home for you. Otherwise, I hope I see you all on the tour in September. And we were going to be rocking Vegas again, and it's going to be basically, it's going to be a magical experience, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't even think my team knows yet what we're going to be doing all the way in Vegas yet, so I probably should be beginning to prep them. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I will see you all in my classrooms.